Hi, cool cats. My name is Marcy Lee. I will be sharing today's first chapter, Fred. I will be reading to you Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Project Rules. This is a graphic novel because it has a lot of characters and stuff. And yeah, so let me start reading. September, Monday. I guess Mom was pretty proud of herself for making me write in that journal last year because now she went and bought me another one. But remember how I said that if some jerk caught me carrying a book with diary on the cover, they were going the wrong idea. Well, that's exactly what happened today. And there's this picture of Roderick bullying Greg. Now that Roderick knows I have another journal, I better remember to keep this one locked up. Roderick actually got a hold of my last journal a few weeks back, and it was a disaster, but don't even get me started on that story. Even without my Roderick problems, my summer has been pretty lousy. Our family didn't go anywhere or do anything fun, and that's Dad's fault. Dad made me join the swim team again. This idea that I'm destined to be a great swimmer or something. So that's why he makes me join the swim team every summer. And I got this idea that I'm destined to be a great swimmer or something. So that's why he makes me join the swim team every summer. And at my first swim meet a couple years ago, Dad told me if I shot off the starter pistol, I was supposed to dive in and start swimming. But what he didn't tell me was that the starter pistol gun only fired blanks. So I was a whole lot worried more about where the bullet was gonna land than I was getting myself to the other end of the pool. And then there's Greg jumping into the pool, and he's just holding his nose in there. Even after Dad explained the whole starter pistol concept to me, I was still the worst swimmer on the team. But I did up winning most improved at the award boutique at the end of the summer. That's only because there was a 10-minute difference between my first race and my last one. So I guess Dad's still waiting for me to live up to my potential. In a lot of ways, being on the swim team was worse than being in middle school. First of all, we had to be there by 7:30 every morning, and the water was always freezing cold. And second of all, we were all crammed into two lanes, so I always had someone on my tail trying to get around me. The reason was we had to use two lanes was because swim practice was at the same time as water jazz class. I actually tried to convince Dad to let me do water jazz instead of swim team, but he wouldn't go for it. Come on, ladies, get those arms up. This was the first summer the coach let us boys wear swimming trunks instead of those skimpy racing trunks. But Mom said Roderick's hand-me-down bathing suits was perfectly fine. Your friends will be jealous because you'll be so fast. And then look, he's wearing the Speedos while the other two boys are wearing the trunks, and they're all laughing at him. After swim practice, Roderick would pick me up in his band. Mom had this crazy idea that if me and Roderick spent some quality time on the ride home every day, we wouldn't fight as much. But all it did was make things a lot worse. Roderick would always half an hour late picking me up, and he wouldn't let me sit up front. He said the chlorine would ruin his seats, even though his van is something like 15 years old. Roderick's van doesn't actually have any seats in the back, so I had to squeeze in with all the band equipment. Every time the van came to a stop, I had to pray I didn't get my head taken off by one of Roderick's drums. I ended up walking home every day instead of getting a ride from Roderick. I figured it was better to walk 2 miles than get brain damage riding the back of the van. Halfway through the summer, I decided I was pretty much done with swim team, so I came up with a trick to get out of practice. I'd swim a few laps, then I'd ask the coach if I could use the bathroom. Then I'd just hide out in the locker room until practice was over. The only problem with my plan was that it was something like 40 degrees in the boys' bathroom. So it was even colder there than it was actually in the pool. I'd wrap myself up in toilet paper so I didn't get hypothermia. So Roderick is like all like in like toilet paper and stuff. That's how I spent a pretty big chunk of my summer vacation. And that's why I'm actually looking forward to going back to school. And then Tuesday, this is the day after Monday. When I got to school today, everybody was acting all strange around me. And at first, I didn't know what was up. Then I remembered I saw the cheese touch from last year. I got the cheese touch in the last week of school, and over the summer, I completely forgot about it. The problem with the cheese touch is that you got it until you pass it on to someone else. But nobody even got within 30 feet of me, so I knew I was going to be stuck with the cheese touch for the whole school year. Luckily, there was a new kid named Jeremy Pendle in homeroom, so that took care of that problem. And he like tapped Jeremy, and now Jeremy has a cheese touch. My first class was pre-algebra, and the teacher put me right next to Alex Ardred, the smartest kid in the whole class. Alex is super easy to copy off of because he always finishes his test early and puts his paper down on the floor next to him. So if I ever get in a pinch, it's nice to know I can count on Alex to bail me out. Kids whose last name starts with the first few letters of the alphabet get caught on the most by the teachers, and that's why they end up being the smartest. Some kids think that that's not true, but if you come to my school, I can prove it. So here's Alex Ardred, and since his both initials start with A's, he gets like called on the most. Then here's Christopher Siegel, and he's like not like smart. I can only think of one kid who broke the last name rule, and that's Peter Udegreg. Peter was the smartest kid in the class all the way up until 5th grade. That's when a bunch of us started giving him a hard time about his initials sounded when you said them out loud. Teacher, the answer to the question is P-U. Yeah, P-U. These days, Peter doesn't raise his hand at all, and he pretty much is a C student. I guess I feel a little bad about the PU thing and what happened to Peter, but it's hard not to take the credit whenever it comes up. I started that. Anyway, today I got pretty decent seats in all of my classes, except for 7th period, history. My teacher is Mr. Huff, and something tells me he had Roderick as a student a few years back. Mr. Huffley, you'll sit next to my chair, next to my desk. And that's all I'm going to read. If you would like to go and check out this book, Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Roderick Rules, and all the other books, it's also in the library today. Bye!